is going on? Happy Dappy Day, YouTube. How are we all doing? I have a video for you guys. It is Q&A time. I'm sitting in a chair. There is somewhat of a background behind me. I have a device in which to read some emails sent to my cichlidman09@gmail.com email account. If you've got any questions for me that you would like me to answer in a video on an email, hit me up there and I will answer your questions either in a video like this, what's going on, this is a video, how is everybody doing, or I will just, answer you straight up on the email. I've been doing a pretty crappy job at, as I get questions, doing Q&As. I've got a bunch of good questions in my email, a little backlog, so we got to get some Q&As up for you guys so that we can get your questions answered. I apologize if it's taken me a few days or this or that, but I promise we're going to get your questions answered. It's just laziness sometimes interferes with my not laziness. That makes sense? So, question number 37. Question number 1. From Kevin. What's up, Kevin? Thanks for all your great videos. I learn a lot and wish I had a fish room like yours. Don't wish you had a fish room like mine. Wish you had a better fish room. Because, why not? What is that filter in your tanks and the white stuff moving around in it? Is it made for a specific function? The white stuff is called K1 coldness. It is a moving bed filter media. If you're not familiar, go Google moving bed filter media. Brief explanation is that stuff moves around and clashes around. Biological film creates on that, and with that clashing and this and that, and they run into each other, what that creates is an environment that, one, is a self-cleaning biological filter, and two, is very efficient. The outside of the filters only remain with the youngest, most hungry bacteria, and on the inside of those little wagon wheels also grows bacteria. So from what I've heard, moving beds are a very extremely efficient filter, meaning they're self-cleaning. The bacteria on the outside of those wagon wheels, those K1 coldness, is the very hungry, the hungriest, the youngest, most aggressive bacteria that's going to feed on all those waste things in your aquarium and assist in keeping your water clean, and basically is a maintenance-free thing. So pretty cool stuff. If you haven't checked out my video on how to make it, it's somewhere on my channel. I'll put a link somewhere on the screen. So thank you for the question, Kevin. Question from Patrick Lambert. What is going on, Patrick? How you doing? How you doing? Hi from Scotland is the title. What's up? I'm in Washington, America. Not the DC, the other one. Hi, Forrest. What's up? I always love when people spell my name right. 2 R's. Thank you very much. Like Forrest Gump. Yes, I know. Have you ever thought about getting a female Hoga and breeding her with Hulk? Let's answer that one before we answer our next one, because the next one's a pretty serious question. Yes, I've thought about it. As a matter of fact, there's an LFS way down south, not way down south, down in Portland, Oregon. Ever heard of it? That I ended up buying a fish that was labeled Hoga Boomerang that ended up being a red Asletus. That was the only time I had ever really gotten him a female. He's to the point now where he's been alone for so long. I think, in my opinion, getting him a female and going through all that trouble of finding one large enough that he could spawn with or anything, and then the likelihood that when I do put that female in the tank, there is a high likelihood, because he's been alone so long, because he's somewhat owned his domain of his tank, that he could just beat the crap out of her and it wouldn't last very long. I've had bad experience with a few fish here and there, trying to spawn them or pair them later in life. The earlier you can get fish to pair, these two back here paired off very young and have been a very solid couple. They still have had their hiccups, but I would love to have bred Hulk. It would have been amazing, but he honestly will never be bred. He will be a bachelor for the rest of his days, and I think what's been going with him has been so amazing and so great, and why mess with a good thing? Who knows what can happen when you introduce other fish to the tanks and all this kind of stuff, but yeah, I've always thought about it. Would love to spawn them and distribute fry. There are people out there who are breeding Hogas, Rap's head Hogas, but yeah. Next question on the same question. Have you ever been arrested? The answer is no. No, I've never been arrested. Don't even think I've ever been close. I've had, let's see, I'm 22, so I've been driving for 13 years, and I've had one ticket, so, you know. Sadly, everybody out there, I'm not, I'm pretty clean, so not a whole lot going on. What you guys see is me, the stuff that I do for fun, so, kind of a dork. So, let's move on to our next question. This question comes from the likes of the internet, from Brandon King. What's up, Brandon? How y'all doing? My 3-inch Jaguar is in a 31-inch long, 18-inch tall, 13-inch wide. Is it okay for him? At 3 inches, absolutely. These fish get large. Central and South American cichlids get big. They grow quickly. But what they do is they start small. That's a great concept that you know, is a fantastic part of this hobby, because you can, and everybody does, including myself, start these fish that get massive and monstrous in these smaller aquariums. Now, this is the important part right here. That 3-inch Jaguar has the potential, and some people will say a Jaguar can get 20 inches. That's BS. It doesn't happen. There's been maybe a few in the hobby that's gotten to 16-ish inch range. A accepted maximum size, an acceptable maximum size for a Jaguar that somebody's going to keep long term is probably in the 14-inch range. If you keep one for 5, 6, 7 years, there is a possibility you're dealing with a 16-inch fish. Now, Hulk is in a 135. He's about maybe 13 inches. Think about adding an extra 3 inches to him, plus the bulk that comes with them. So, the important part here is your Jaguar's 3 inches long. In the tank that he's in, which 31 by 18 tall by 13 wide, that pretty sure that's a 29 gallon, about the same dimensions. I'm guessing that's the tank we're talking about. At 3 inches, yes, you're fine. Now, you are going to have to upgrade that tank. A minimum tank size for an adult Jag, acceptable minimum. I'm a huge fan of 75-gallon aquariums just because of the dimensions. 4 foot by 18 inches. You have a lot of options. Honestly, for me, if you're going to keep a Jag super long term and you want to keep them forever, any fish that gets to about a foot long-term tanks, an accepted good-sized tank is going to be a 6 by 18. So we're talking a 125, but an acceptable minimum for when that fish. So at 3 inches, you're fine. Once that fish gets to maybe 5 inches, you need to upgrade that tank, and you might as well just upgrade to a tank that the fish is going to be able to live into for a long time. It's not worth going from a 29 to a 45 to a 55 to a 75. Save the money, buy the new bigger tank. 75 gallon would be a great size tank for a Jag. Ideally 125 plus. That's my opinion. Thanks for the question, Brandon King. Got another question here. You guys are awesome, by the way. Keep asking questions. Got a question from Kyle Warden. Hi, my name is Kyle. We already know that, Kyle. Thanks for letting us know, right? I am wondering where you got your sink attachment that you use to refill your tanks with your hose. Also, I'm wondering where you empty your water while you gravel vac your tank. Those are a couple very interesting questions, and I have a couple probably not so interesting answers. They're just answers. That little Y thing that I've got. So there's your sink has threads on it, and the threads in the sink are pretty small. You have to get an adapter. There's an adapter that can thread into your sink. Most local fish stores will have it. Check online. I think I'm gonna find one, and I'll put a link in the description below. That way I don't have to go grab it and show you guys. I'll find one maybe on eBay or Amazon or something. Basically, what it is an adapter that it'll be able to screw into your sink faucet, but it'll have hose barb threads on the outside so that, you know, a normal garden hose or something will attach to that. And what I did is I took a Y valve right here with the 2 ball valves on it, and hooked my pocket hose to that. Don't know if you guys, I don't know what this is showing you guys, but hand motions explains things. But yeah, that's basically what I did, and that, as long as you have the adapter, anything that's got like a hose fitting on it will be able to fit right on there. And that Y adapter also has hose fittings on it, so my pocket hose just screws right into that. Like I said, I'll put a couple links in the description below to show you exactly what I'm talking about, so I don't have to run over there and grab it. In terms of where my water goes, I honestly have no idea. I just stick it in there and then start the siphon, and it just disappears. No, just kidding. Actually, it goes outside. I have it rigged so that my water just goes straight outside, so I don't have to run into a bathroom or anything like that. Thanks for the question. Next question. You guys are amazing. And I think this is going to be our last question for today. From Danny Navarro. What up, Forrest? What up, Danny? Love your channel. Thank you very much. I've been looking to get back in the hobby for a while now. I love Mbunas, but after watching your vids of Hulk, Azul, Blondie, and Spike, I'm sold on raising a behemoth of my own. That's awesome. Glad that my fish could have been some sort of an inspiration at all. This guy's showing off back here, showing off that he's cool. Okay, my only issue is that I live in an apartment and I'm limited on space. Been there, done that, screw it. 75 gallon is the largest I can go. In your expertise, would this be sufficient to raise one large cichlid? Yes, hell yes. 75 gallon for anybody looking to get into Central American cichlids is an awesome, fantastic. Honestly, I could go 500 gallons, 135, 125. 75 gallon is my absolute favorite tank size, strictly due to the options that arise once your tank goes from a foot wide to 18 inches wide. Now, you cannot keep a doveye in a 75 gallon long term. You cannot keep an umbi in a 75 gallon long term. There's a fish called Amphilophus chancho that gets pretty massive. Can't keep that in a 75 gallon long term. But there is a ton of fish out there. Once the fish gets to about a foot long, you're about going to max out a 75. 12 to 13 inches or so is a really good maximum size for a fish living in a 75. So there is a ton of fish out there. Hulk, for an acceptable minimum tank size, a 75 would work. I like to get him in a more comfortable size tank. The 135 does a much better job. Gives him a little more space. That extra 2 feet, obviously, math. But a 75, you know, Danny, if you're looking to get into Central Americans, 75 gallon is a great tank size. So many options you could do. Honestly, I could give you a list of 20 different fish that I would easily and put into a 75 that would fit just fine. In terms of a pair, you're not going to be able to get the largest pair in there. A 75 gallon for me, I love the tank size. It probably works best as a wet pet tank, just because the 4 foot is a little bit difficult to do 2 large fish in terms of a pair. But if you just want to raise a solo behemoth, maybe like a Midas or a Hoga Boomerang like Hulk, something like maybe like a Red Tiger Moaguensis, Parachromis Friedrichsthale. We talked about Jags already. A Jag would be a pretty decent size. That'd be about a minimum tank size for a full-grown Jag. You've got, you know, if you get a Jag at 2 inches, you've got 3 years solid until that Jag's going to either outgrow the 75 or get too large for it, and then you got to upgrade. But there is a ton of options for a 75. So if you're looking to get into Central Americans and raising a beast, a behemoth, a 75 is a great starting tank. Just because that 18-inch width opens up a lot of options. You go from a 55 to a 75, even though it's just an extra 20 gallons, it's that footprint change that allows for so much more options. Anything from Spectabilis, Excyclosoma islam, Excyclosoma beani. If you're looking to raise one beast, do some research on fish that maybe max out right around a foot long. Maybe some Amphilophus lion's eye possibly. But yeah, 75 gallon, honestly, for Central Americans, people starting out in this hobby, my favorite, absolute favorite tank size. Because it's that tank size that once you get, the options explode with a lot more options. And it's really, honestly, a fantastic tank size. Thank you for the question, Dan. So, last question. Have you ever owned an Oscar, and if so, what type? But if not, would you like to care for an Oscar? Of course, everybody who starts out in the Central American game, absolutely, all of us own Oscars. They're the ones you get at PetSmart, Petco, your local fish stores. Those are the ones everybody gets. I had a couple beautiful Oscars. I had a red Oscar and a albino tiger Oscar that was pretty cool way back in the day before I even did any videos. But eventually, I'd love to get back into. Eventually, I'd love to have a big tank with maybe some peacock bass, Oscars, maybe throw a little bit more of a South American theme, but a big tank. 500 gallons or so. Something I could put a bunch of random stuff in, peacock bass, Oscars, maybe some catfish or whatever. But yes, I've owned Oscars. Yes, I love Oscars. They're amazing fish. They're those fish that you get that really instill your love for the fact that these fish can become pets. Because so much of this hobby, honestly, that's why I love Central American, South American cichlids, is because these fish really do become pets. It's a very much a one-on-one pet scenario, similar to you have with dogs. Kind of like you have with cats. Fish are more like dogs because cats are just kind of whatever, it really instills that. It's a great fish to start out with because a lot of these other starter fish, your Jack Dempsey's, your Firemouths, and all these other stuff that they sell at your local fish stores really don't, out of the box, really aren't just like boom in your face personable fish. Oscars from day one, 90% of Oscars are hungry, in your face, up there ready for food. Probably the most abused fish in the hobby, just because everybody's had them in small tanks, everybody overfeeds them, nobody changed water. But and I really wish that new people would do a little bit more research before they get into big fish like Oscars. But I honestly do love Oscars. I will eventually keep them again. I would love to get maybe a rare wild type Oscar, and maybe look into spawning Oscars, because that's something that I never even fathomed of doing before. But there are some pretty cool strains of Oscar out there, stuff that I could get just a little bit away from me, and maybe someday get into breeding Oscars, because yeah, it's probably the most popular fish in the hobby. In terms of people who raise cichlids, I'm sure there's other fish out there that are more popular, like those and neon tetras and stuff. But in terms of that fish that you get that really most people will say instilled their love for cichlids, and I will 100% agree that Oscars really are a great starter fish to get you into that. Holy crap! These things aren't just animals in a glass aquarium. These are pets. These are part of my family. These interact with me. These have brains and they think. And that aspect of keeping these Central American cichlids, these big fish that turn into basically water dogs, really is what gets you to really love this hobby, and I think gets the people who are into these Central American cichlids. People get so crazy about it and have such a passion for it, just like I do. But yeah, that's it for our questions today. I hope everybody had a great time. I love spending time with you guys anytime that I can. But no, sorry, never been arrested. But stay tuned. We got more Q&As coming. Of course, I got a bunch of questions from you guys. If you got any questions for me, cichlidman09@gmail.com. I will try my best to answer every single question out there. If it takes me a few days, be patient, because I'm going to try and get in a video. I try to do responses and let you know. You'll see this in a video, or I try and respond to it. But like I said, I'm getting quite a few at a time, so I'm doing a pretty crappy job on my part in doing videos and answering you guys, but we're going to try and do a better job at doing that so we can keep these videos coming, because I honestly have a fun time sharing whatever the heck comes out of my brain when you guys ask questions. And the more random, the better. I love the random questions. And we will catch you guys on the flippity flip. Right? Maybe. Where's Azul? Come here, buddy. There he is. See you guys later. If you haven't hit that subscribe button, hit the subscribe button, like button, comment, and ask questions.